To get started with this, anytime we have a number outside parentheses, we distribute it and multiply it to everything on the inside. Now, on your quizzes, again, this was a really common mistake where a lot of you, if there's a negative involved anywhere in here, a lot of you miss your sign. You either didn't keep it as negative, okay, but that was one of the most common mistakes is distributing and then distributing and dealing with negatives, okay? So here there's no negatives, so that probably wasn't an issue at all. So 3 times 5 is 15x. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 times x is 8x. And 8 times 1 is 8. Then we're wanting to get the variable to the left side, although it really doesn't matter. Okay, if you want the variable on the left or the right, it should all work out the same. So I'm going to minus the 8x because I like the variables on the left-hand side. That gives me 7x plus 3, and now it equals just 8. Then I want the numbers on the other side. So if I have a positive 3, I'm going to subtract 3. And I get 7x equals 5. And then 7x means 7 times x. So I need to divide by 7. And I get x equals 5/7. And you can give me your answer as that fraction 5/7. Or you can divide it and tell me what it is as a decimal. 0.714? Yeah, sounds right. 0.714. All right. Right, so that one, not too bad. We don't have any division to deal with. But if we look at the next problem that we're going to solve, it looks a lot different, but this is actually the exact same thing that we just did. But the problem, or what's hard here is we got to get to that point. So we've got to do some work to undo the division so we can get this problem to look just like the opener. Now this is what we talked about yesterday, where when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, all those fractions are division problems. And so for us to undo the division, we need to multiply. So yesterday we said let's multiply by what we're dividing. So both sides multiply by 3. That gets rid of the dividing by 3. And so now on this left side, I have 8. On the right side, that 3 is going to need to distribute to the 5x plus 1. I'm going to actually wait a second on doing that. So what I'm going to do is put parentheses around the 5x plus 1 and just write so that I know that 3 needs to multiply to the 5x plus 1. And then we're still dividing by x plus 1. So now the only other division we have is on the right side where we're dividing by the entire term of x plus 1. And so I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 1 as that gets rid of this dividing. And on the left side, that 8 will need to distribute. So I have 8 times x plus 1, and it equals 3 times 5x plus 1. Does that look familiar now? That's exactly what we just solved, right? The only difference is the 3 and the 5x plus 1 are on the right side, and the opener is on the left side. Okay, so with these proportions and with these problems that are fractions, we just need to figure out a way to undo that division. Okay, and really it happens by us multiplying by both denominators. Now I'm going to actually show us a shortcut for how we can skip and do this in one step and make it a lot quicker. Anybody have an idea as to what I'm referring to? Yeah, what? The cross thing. Enzo, what is the cross thing that we're referring to? Cross multiplying. Now, I usually, and the reason I didn't go cross multiply yesterday is because a lot of students, once they learn to cross multiply, they just do that every time they see a fraction. The reason why we cross multiply is it gets rid of the division, but it gets rid of that in one step. Okay, so when you cross multiply, what you're doing is you're undoing the dividing. okay, and then making the problem so you don't have any division. So let's see what cross multiplying looks like. We want to undo dividing by 5, right? And to undo dividing by 5, I have to multiply both sides by 5. Well, on the left side, the multiplying by 5 and the dividing 5 will cancel out. So really what happens is this 5 will multiply and will need to distribute to the 3x plus 4. Okay, so how I set up the cross multiplying is I just circle what I'm going to multiply together. And then we put that on one side of the equation, and it doesn't matter which side. You can put it on the left side of your equal sign or the right side. Okay, I'll go ahead and put it on the right side. So that 5 will multiply and distribute to the 3 absolute value of x plus 4. Then we need to get rid of the dividing by 9. So I need to multiply both sides by 9. On the right side, that'll cancel out with the division. On the left side, that 9 will need to distribute to the absolute value of x plus 7. So that's 9 times the absolute value of x plus 7. And look at that, we got rid of all the division and only having to do one step to get there. And now it's just like the other problems where we'll distribute, combine, or get variables to one side and numbers to the other. Okay, so let's distribute here. So I get 9 absolute values of x plus 63. It equals 5 times 3 absolute values of x, which is 15 absolute value of x. And then 5 times 4 is 20. When I'm solving problems, I'm always going to get the variables to the left side. So I'm going to subtract the 15 absolute value of x. So I get negative 6 absolute values of x. And we still have plus 63, and it equals 20. Then I can minus 63 from both sides. That way I get my numbers on the other side. So negative 6 absolute value of x equals negative 43. And then divide both sides by negative 6. And so the absolute value of x equals, well, the negative divided by negative will make this positive. So negative 43 divided by negative 6 is 7.166. 7.167. And then absolute values are going to have two solutions. So we now just need to say that x equals plus or minus 7.167. Does that feel a little bit easier than what we were doing yesterday? Yeah? Okay, good. So if you're not done with the homework from yesterday, you can cross multiply for those problems. It's all the same. Okay? And again, the reason I don't show it to you right away because I think it's important that we know what we're doing when we cross multiply, and it's just that we're undoing all the division. All right, let's do number there's still not a ton of room here, so let's do number 3, and I'll have you all do 2 more. Yeah, but any questions about anything I did there in problem 1? Okay, yeah. No, if I were to put the 9 and x plus 7 on the right side and the 5 and the 3x plus 4 on the left side, it's all the exact same. It does not matter which side you put it on. Okay, number 3, I want to get rid of the dividing, and I'm going to first get rid of the dividing by 3. So I'm going to take that 3. I know it needs to multiply to both sides, so it cancels out on the left side. And then the 3 will have to distribute to the 5x plus 1. It does not matter if I put it on the left side here or the right side. I'll put it on the right side, so I get 3 times 5, absolute value of x plus 1. And then I need to do the exact same thing, where now I need to get rid of the dividing by the absolute value of x plus 1. And now we'll get multiplied to this 8. So that's 8 times the absolute value of x plus 1. These are equal, and now we are on our way. So from here, we'll distribute. Yeah, have a good day. So I get 8 absolute values of x plus 8. Then 3 times 5 is 15 absolute value of x. 3 times 1 is 3. Oops. Then I'm going to get my variables to the left side, so I'm going to subtract 15 absolute value of x. I get negative 7 absolute value of x plus 8 equals 3. Subtract 8. I get negative 7 absolute value of x equals negative 5. I need to divide both sides by negative 7. So the absolute value of x equals 5 divided by 7. Didn't we just see that? Somebody whispered that was 0.714. And then since it's absolute value, that means that x is plus or minus 0.714. Okay. So here's how I want to finish these problems. We're going to do 5 and 7. And let's just start with the cross multiplying. Okay, I'm going to give you like 1 minute. And all I want you to do for 5 and 7 is just simply do the cross multiplying part. If you get done with that, then you can start to solve. But I want to make sure we can cross multiply and get to the right places. Okay, so everyone cross multiply for 5 and 7. And then we'll pick it up from there. So just the cross multiplying here. And I'll give you some time to solve it. But after cross multiplying, you should have on either side of the equation that 6 needs to multiply to x squared minus 1. And on the other side, you should have that 10 needs to multiply to 5x squared plus 6. And again, I'll give you a couple minutes to take it from there. But then for number 7, the cross multiplying, on one side of your equation, you should have 2 multiplying to x squared plus 5. And on the other side, you should have 6 multiplying to 5x squared minus 10. Again, take it from there. We'll go over both of these answers, and then I'll get you going on the homework shortly after. Thank you. Okay. All right, we did the cross multiplying. Then, after I cross multiplied, I distribute the 6 to get 6x squared minus 6 and 50x squared plus 60. I always get my variables to the left side, so I'm minus 50x squared. 6 minus 50 is negative 44x squared. I still have that negative 6, and we still have the 60. Then I'm going to add the 6 to both sides. So I have negative 44x squared equals 66. Dividing both sides by negative 44 gets x squared equal to negative 1.5. And we cannot square root that negative, so that is no solution. Okay, square rooting a negative is not a real number. Oh, sorry, I'll give a sec. And with that, I guess there's one negative to kind of deal with, but it's not too bad with all the negatives there, with there only being the one. All right, and then number 7. I can go back to either one if anyone needs. Okay, but number 7, I distribute the 2 to get 2x squared plus 10. Distribute the 6 to get 30x squared minus 60. Then I subtract the 30x squared from both sides. 2 minus 30 is negative 28. X squared, I still have plus 10. So I have minus 60. Then I need to minus that 10 to the other side. When I minus 10 from 60, I get negative 70. And then I have negative 28x squared. So taking negative 70 and dividing by negative 28, that is a positive. You get 2.5. Taking the square root of 2.5 gives you plus or minus 1.58. Okay,